Hey, everybody. Welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed, honored, and eager today to be talking to my friend, Ken Flornes. Ken, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm living a dream, my brother. How are you today, my fellow New Yorker?
Phenomenal. This is gonna be a very New York themed show, but we've got breaking news today also. Sometimes the stars align and they all show up on Love and Reload. We've got breaking news. The corporate housing industry shockwaves have been sent through. I might be over dramatizing a little bit, but that's what we do. Get in the comments right now. I want to know who you are, where you are, what's going on. Breaking news. Ken, I read across the newswire that Synergy has acquired Primestone corporate housing, the housing solutions division business. That's like mega news.
Oh, I'm about to do the little corporate housing dance, but I'll try to keep it a little quiet and relaxed. It's too early for happy hour.
I saw the corporate housing dances at CHPA in New Orleans.
Yes.
I don't know if it's that kind of show. I'm just kidding. But no, this is big stuff. I want to hear all about it. And I'm going to just take one pause because I see people coming into the comments right now. Keep it coming. Hit that like button. Get in there. I want to know what you're thinking out there. If you've got questions for Ken, I don't know what he's allowed to answer, what he's not, but we're going to ask it anyway. We can do what we want here. Adrian Grimes checking in live from Glomo HQ in Dallas. What's up, Adrian? Ruby. Hello, Kenneth and Ben. Amy. Hi, Kenny. You go by Ken, Kenny, Kenneth. I mean, you're like Fletch.
It depends what time of day it is. By midnight, it's usually Kenny Babes, but 8 a.m. in the morning, it's Kenneth.
It's Kenneth at 8 a.m. It's Ken by noon.
And Kenny Babes by midnight. Yes.
Kenny Babes by midnight. That's phenomenal, dude. I love it. Matt Waz. Hey, everyone. Nice to see you both, Ken and Ben. That has a ring. Hey, it's got a ring.
It does. I agree.
It's the Kenny and Benny show here. Robin, live from NYC. Good to see you. Look at this. Yeah, mega news, Ruby. Mega news. Anandita, what's up? Hello from USI Law. Good to see you, Anandita. Can't wait to see you. I'm going to the Commanders-Cowboys game with Anandita January 7th. Can't wait to do that up in D.C. Matt was. Give us all the juice.
Oh, I love it.
He wants the juice. Oh, wow. I don't know if we have a permit to sell juice. Shane. Hey, Ken. Long time no see. David Yakum. Coleman in the house. What's up? Michael Bailey from Fort Worth. This is great. All right, Ken. Let's just get into it. Fantastic. I read this news. What's this mean?
Yeah, so really, really exciting. My former CEO, Bruce Witherall, and Henry, probably about 2-3 years ago, became, socially friends and developed a very high-level relationship. Both super duper smart entrepreneurial persons that really collaborate together on many different levels. And at the end of the day, Synergy Global Housing is definitely the leader in the world. I partnered with them for, through my career for the last 20 years, and so happy and so proud and honored. And what Jack and Henry have done with Synergy, I can't be happier. And Bruce decided to really focus the Primestone company on the technology side, which they purchased an acquisition earlier this year with a company called Xenia. So Primestone's focus now is only tech. And they felt really important what we built up on the housing side to join forces with Synergy, and Synergy with the infrastructure, the backing of Ascot over in Singapore, the amazing service that they deliver to their clients. It was a great collaboration with the Primestone housing team, being a small mini version of Synergy, but at the same time adding a lot of value from entrepreneurship to relationships with property developers, and rock and roll.
Yeah, super interesting. I always look at these kinds of I call them marriages, these mergers and acquisitions in our business, and I always think about like strategically what was the thought process there, and I'd love to know what do you think got Synergy excited you know, y'all have built some really kind of some special stuff over the last few years. I remember when you were kind of kicking off, and it was kind of like in this like infancy stage, and then what it's kind of grown into, and not a very long period of time. What do you think it was for Synergy that got them excited about the Primestone housing?
Yeah, so I think Primestone and the team, there's two parts. We were able to, the focus was only B2B from a corporate housing side. We've been able to collaborate and onboard a number of different global clients in the small tenure of the housing space that Primestone has been part of. And
Yep.
then on a separate note, the relationships that, you know, my former CEO, Bruce Witherall from Primestone, he was the former CEO of Freddie Mac, gave a lot of backing on the multifamily side and made a lot of connections. And I think the big kicker was with Synergy to say, hey, this is a great company. They have some great clients. Let's bring the brightest and best into our family. And then also potentially from Synergy's standpoint to expand its supply chain and inventory within other regions in the U.S. market.
Yeah,
Southeast,
and I
New
know.
York. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know they're huge, you know, with their family of companies in EMEA, in APAC. You know, I know there's quite a few folks here in the US region, but I definitely see where it doubles down on that US presence and creates and especially in a market like New York, right? Where y'all are really big in New York, right?
Oh yeah, Synergy's been in New York for a number of years, and then the neat thing is they've done an amazing job, and I'm so happy and proud to actually be based in New York too. So I actually can go to the New York office now, so I'm psyched about that. But
Nice.
just not even the New York area, but tri-state, Southeast, and Synergies will be opening a new office in Texas over the next couple of months. So some of the footprint we have with property partnerships will extend out through the Texas area as well, which will be exciting.
Hey, come on down.
Hey.
I saw in the PR piece, I saw in the I don't know what they call it, across the blotter. I don't know. It's only old school, you know, it's only old school terms for the stuff. But I saw that there was some mention also of possibly Synergy being able to leverage some of the technology that Primestone has too. I mean, is there an angle there at all?
No, I don't think so. I think Synergy has a great system that they utilize today. And Primestone's focus is on the technology side of things with multifamilies and potentially marketplace and some interesting things. I definitely see some forward down the road potential collaboration. But let's see where that journey brings us.
Awesome. Get in the comments. I want to know, what do you think about this big news? What are your thoughts? We got folks from the corporate housing industry here, the general relocation industry. I want to know, what do you think about this acquisition by Synergy of Primestone Housing Solutions? Did I get it right?
I think so. You're good.
I talk faster than I guess it doesn't matter really what it was called, because now it's all going to be Synergy, or is the brand Primestone going to stay there, or is it now going to be Synergy?
No, the Primestone Housing Solutions was absorbed by Synergy. So it's Synergy, one-stop shop for corporate housing anywhere in the world. There you go.
Okay, we got questions. Get your questions in the comments. We will ask all of them. Please get in here. I want to know what you think. This is great. Annie's saying super excited to learn what you did at Primestone Partners and you in general. Hey, Annie, you're in the right place. Okay, because we got 54 minutes of Ken left here, I think.
Right.
Ruby's got a question. Keep these questions coming here. I'll prioritize your questions as they come in. Ruby saying, will your role remain the same?
So it's fun. Great question. So my role at Primestone Housing Solutions was the Chief Development Officer. I was, it started with one person, which was me, and we built out a small team. Being in a startup type of company, you wear many different hats. So no, my role will not be the same. I'm blessed and so happy. I'm actually so much calmer today because I'm not wearing 50 hats anymore. I'm only wearing a couple at Synergy. Because Synergy has the infrastructure, has the global team to support all the magic that I can potentially bring from a client perspective and any knowledge and resource I have on inventory. So,
this reminds me of a career change I made once in my life, where I was kind of, wearing all the hats, running all the stuff, but I had definite strengths in certain areas, and of course I had weaknesses in other areas, right? And I joined a company that was more kind of mature, built out, and just had a lot more support, you know. And I was able to kind of focus on the one or two things that I really had a flair for, and allow other really solid professionals to do the other things. My question for you is, what are those key areas where you're going to devote the most focus now that you can kind of pick your spots?
Sure. So I would say 80% of my focus and goal is business development, managing existing clients, bringing new business into Synergy. I love the business. I truly, when you find your niche in life, I just love serving clients. I love onboarding. I love, not even, it's not even selling, it's building that relationship, and you make an impact, and try to make a change, and listen to your client. Don't oversell. And I have a big mouth. We all know that. I try to tone it down a bit and just really listen and find out what Jane Smith at a certain company, what challenges they're having. And what I love to do is put my entrepreneur hat on then and try to come up with solutions, and work with, now obviously, the Synergy team to come up with amazing solutions for that client.
Speaking of which, and keep these questions coming. I want to hear what you all think out there. Get it in the comments here. We've got some amazing people out there. Ruby, great questions. Keep them coming. Melanie saying, "Hey neighbor, congratulations. Very exciting announcement." That's cool. What's up, Melanie? Good to see you there. We got a question here, kind of question comment. Bernie is great. I hope she's staying on. Everybody loves Bernie.
Yep. So we have a whole team at Primestone that we're hoping to transition over to Synergy. So we're working through that.
Very cool. Very cool. I've got a question here. Well, this is a very general question from Phil. What's up, Ken? A lot, Phil. Where you been? A lot is going on, Phil. Love Phil. Phil Leonard's great people. Even though he's from Philly. Anyway, there's gonna be a lot of New York going on here. A lot of New York. Okay. Got a question though, because Primestone Housing Solutions, did y'all have the ability? Did y'all have like kind of a hotel license, or did y'all have like the ability to kind of operate in a different way in the corporate housing space in New York City, or some things that were kind of unique to y'all in the New York City market? Because I know it's a really challenging market to do business in, right?
It is. So one of the, through my career of real estate, first of all, I started my corporate housing career at Oakwood, like so many on this call today, and many folks over at Synergy. I leveraged my relationship with Silverstein Properties, the Larry Silverstein that still owns the World Trade Center side in New York. I was able to tap into a lot of my relationships in real estate in New York and identify buildings that have a hotel license in order then. And so when you think of all the residential buildings in New York City, a lot of them have mostly 30-day stays or 6-month stays.
Yeah.
As a minimum, depending on how the zoning is.
There's like no short-term furnished apartments. I say no, there are some, but I mean, it's very rare. It's hard to find because they're so anti-Airbnb and so anti the short stay, right?
Correct. Yeah. So really the model in New York it's really the hotel residences that have apartments and a hotel combined, where a lot of times they unionize the buildings. And those are the rare type of buildings that you can actually do short term in. And part of with Synergy and the acquisition, a lot of those relationships that I've developed over the years, Synergy will participate in and inherit and take and expand onto their inventory in the New York area and other places.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And Synergy has other companies in their portfolio, right?
Yeah, so Synergy has some branded buildings in New York City, which are amazing, by the way, absolutely beautiful. I would say the gem of the properties in New York are located in Chelsea. I believe it's 23rd and 7th Avenue, which I remember the pre-construction, and actually, and that building is a very popular building, which and they have a townhouse in New York, which we call the Synergy Madison. A lot of unique, beautiful properties in New York that Synergy's done an amazing job over the last few years.
Yeah, super interesting here. We got people checking in there. Get in the comments, hit that like button. I want to know what you think. Big news here. Synergy bought Primestone Housing Solutions. What does it mean? What else is happening in the marketplace is what we're going to get into all that. And we've got some really sneaky overrated, underrateds for later. Amy, Kenny has always poured his heart and soul into this industry. Very exciting news.
Thank you.
Yeah, super cool. But I want to go back into your history a little bit. You talked about the Silverstein, relationship. I think that's such a cool story. But before that, like, how did you even get into the hospitality industry? I'm really curious for you to share that.
So it's pretty. So not to bore everyone here, but I'll give my life in a 20-second a clip if I can, if it's even possible. I've had an interesting journey in my life. I lived in Norway half my life, so I'm a Viking by heart and soul, but I'm still came to America, which is the best country in the world.
You speak fluent Norwegian?
Yeah, Norwegian, Swedish, and Danish. It sounds fantastic,
Sheesh.
but it's basically the same thing. And that being said, I was born in the U.S. and I moved there in my younger years. And one of the big things that my family did, we opened one of the first McDonald's in Norway, which was on CNN last year as the top 10 nicest restaurants in the world. It's a little town called Kristiansand, Norway.
What do you get, like a Michelin star at the McDonald's or something?
I mean, we had a grand piano in the restaurant, and I actually went to Hamburg University, so I really know how to grill a hamburger.
Is that where you got your bachelor's at Hamburg University?
You got it up in Oak Brook, Illinois, baby. So
Nice.
it was McDonald's is definitely a great operation, and they do well,
I'm really curious. I just want to stay here just for a second. I know this
Yeah.
isn't about corporate housing, but I'm just dying here. Okay, you talking food, my ears perk up. Okay, what's that like, a McDonald's in Norway? Like, I mean, is it the same food? Is it different?
No,
Is there Norwegian like stuff? Like, what's going on? Walk me through.
Yes. So what McDonald's does when they go into to a new country, they get all the local providers that operate in that country, and they try to buy the product from that country. So they help the local country with the economy, whether it's the farmers, whether it's the persons that have the beef, whatever the case may be. The difference between Norway versus the US, Norway doesn't have antibiotics in their meat. They're very, very strict for years. So they couldn't bring McNuggets into Norway for about 15 years because they couldn't use the chickens. They couldn't make it the McDonald's way in Norway because of all the strict health. So answering your question, I feel McDonald's in Norway tastes a little better than the US.
So they don't, because and I've read that too. In Europe, they don't have as many additives.
No, they don't. Food. They don't. They're very, which honestly we probably should do a lot more on over here, which I think we're catching up to finally now. But yeah, so, and then one thing that they did have, which was pretty neat, which was hugely popular with the tourists, the McLots, salmon burger with whole wheat, tzatziki sauce, 2 slices of cucumber, grilled right on the thing. One of my favorites.
That sounds amazing. So it's like a grilled piece of fish, or is it like a burger?
Basically,
it's like
take a piece of salmon on the grill it, and it was a great salmon burger.
Right.
They called it McLots.
McLots? Oh, like locks, like LOX, like McLots?
Yeah, LAX.
That's fantastic.
LOX, yeah.
Yeah. This is great. Danny Herskowitz checking in from New Jersey. What's up, Danny? Look at Danny checking in.
I want to do the dance from here. Okay.
Give him the dance. Give him the dance. The Danny dance. Get in the comments, ask your questions, but I got another question. How do you go from being the Norwegian McDonald's proprietor to being an icon in the corporate housing industry?
So great news is one of the senior leaders at Synergy today, her name is Leslie O'Brien. She worked with a colleague of mine at Oakwood in 2002. And I was looking to come back to the U.S. because I truly missed America, missed New York, definitely a New York guy. I bought a one-way ticket back to New York, left the burger business, and I was honored. And my first interview was with Leslie O'Brien, who today I'm meeting at the Synergy holiday party tomorrow. So she brought me into the business in 2002. And I, through the journey of 20 years, she's been part of my life along with many other industry folks. And I know Jack and Henry, they were at Oakwood as well. So that's how I started it. And I started as an account coordinator at Oakwood in 2002.
What does an account coordinator do?
More like an inside sales role, basically helping after account executive brings in a client, would help do the reservation and all that funny stuff.
So you're sending the rates out, you're getting them booked. You're like,
correct,
Mr. and Mrs. Doe, here's your,
correct.
Okay.
And I grew from there, and then I became the district manager in New York in several years after that. And I worked, and Leslie was my boss at the time at Oakwood for many, many years. So it's funny how it all comes around, you know. So
I love it. I
yeah.
love it. You know what? The first thing I think of when I hear Oakwood, not being from the corporate housing industry originally, my first ERC in San Antonio, it was the NRC, the National Relocation Conference. I think it was 2012. And it was my first one. And my mind was blown. And you know what blew my mind was the Oakwood party.
Yeah.
Epic parties back in the day.
Yeah.
Do you remember the one in San Antonio? I don't know if you're with the organization. Probably not a lot of people do, but let me tell you about it, okay? It was at this Mexican restaurant, 2-story on the Riverwalk. They rented the whole thing out. There was like tequila tastings. There's sombreros. I think I had a fake mustache on at one point. We're taking pictures. It's like, I'd never seen a tequila flight before in my life. I was a young man. It was a different time. I'm talking about like a Studio 54. But anyway, my point is, it blew my mind absolutely. And I'm like, this is a job. Like I can just do this. I was like, sign me up. I'm getting the tattoo. I'm done. I'm in for life at that point. I was like, this is my career. So it was that party. So who do I have to thank for those parties? Okay.
It goes back to Howard Ruby that started Oakwood back in the 1950s. So he was the brand ambassador of the corporate housing Oakwood for many, many years.
Yeah. God bless him, man. All right. Anyway, moving on. Okay. So like present day, I want to get into some stuff that's happening right now. This is interesting story. There we go, Amy. Get in the comments right now. If you're thinking things, feeling things, get in there. I want to hear about it. Leslie O'Brien, we all worked together at Oakwood back in the day. Forever family. Yeah, so many people speak fondly of that organization and the time that they spent there. So it's really cool.
I have to tell you one thing. Even though it's my first day at Synergy today, I feel like the amazing things that Oakwood brought, Synergy is that times 100.
Wow.
And definitely not the crazy parties that Oakwood used to have.
Yeah.
Definitely working a lot smarter, but I'm actually super happy, even more happy now.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot to sell now. You got a whole lot, a lot of
global
services.
Infrastructure. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's incredible. I want to talk about global because you've got some really neat stories and some stuff that you've done globally that, I think is pretty incredible. What's one of the things that maybe stuck out as stories that might have stuck out most to you? Recently globally.
Yeah. So I would say, literally last year, 2022, I feel like that year was an anomaly for everyone,
The last 3 years have been anomalies.
Yeah,
It
has. But I think once the Ukrainian war has kicked in last year, it just brought last year to another level,
Mm-hmm.
And the most impactful thing that I've done in my career in corporate housing for over 20 plus years is what the journey I went through last year in 2020.
Really? Why is that?
Well, it was, I'll remember it like it was yesterday. It was March 16th. I received a phone call from a client around 8:00 at night. And it was someone that I was trying to get as a client for many, many years. And he's like, nah, I'm comfortable with my provider. I'm comfortable with my RMC.
Right. As usual. That's what they say.
And I'm like, okay. But, we had a relationship. I'm like, wow, Mr. Smith.
Was it like Kenny Babes? I need your help, or was
it was a very serious tone, very serious.
Very serious.
Ken. It was Ken. It was actually not Kenny Babes. It was not Kenito. It was
Kenneth.
Ken. No, it was actually Ken. It was after 8 p.m. So and he said, he's like, I have a problem, Houston. We have a problem. I said, so what's the issue? He's like, I need to move hundreds of people out of Kiev and Moscow in the next week or so.
Wow.
And I said, okay. So, and he's like, Ken, I heard you're the inventory guy with wears the entrepreneur hat, and a guy that knows a guy.
Hold on. I want to pause you there. Okay. First reaction, you get this call. Ken, we have a problem.
Yeah. And
Were you thinking, wait, hold on, we don't have any units with you. It can't be my fault. I mean, was that the first, right? But was it excitement or was it nervous? Like, how am I gonna do this?
you know what? I'm definitely a fixer. I don't, you know, I run too fast sometimes for sure. But when I was presented with the issue, and I put my contact, my relationships in my brain, shook it up a little. I'm like, okay, give me 36 hours. Let me come back to you, see what I could do. And that evening, I contacted my old relationship from Silverstein, the CEO there that had an amazing relationship in Poland. And I jumped on a plane with a colleague a couple of days after that, and we set up a couple of hundred families that we moved from Poland and into Kiev into Poland. We walked every unit, we met every family, and that was probably one of the most impactful things because I literally cry 3 times a day when you meet these families and what they've gone through, and no one can describe what these poor people and they kept their wits about it, and I will never forget that journey that I went through. It was so we should all be so thankful for living the way we do and be happy for what we have and what these poor families have gone through. And they're innocent people. They're not, they're executives that are working for big companies, American companies. And so anyway, but to answer your question, we were able to pull that off. Not only those couple hundred, but from there we jumped on a plane to Dubai, never been, and set up hundreds and hundreds of apartments there. And I even rode a camel while I was there. Some scary pictures. It's gone viral. So
Feel bad for the camel.
okay.
I mean, somebody puts me on a camel. I'm like, hey, camel better have health insurance. You know.
And the camel took off with me on it. That's a scary side of it.
Oh no!
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, well, there goes Ken. Sometimes the camel's got him.
He did for sure.
Were you scared? Like for real? Like the camel you got on the camel? What was that like riding the camel?
Basically what happened, I wasn't really planning on riding it. I jumped on.
I wasn't planning on riding it. Hold on. No, so the camel just kind of scoops you up like a newlywed? Like, what do you mean? Like you were planning on riding this camel?
I will share a picture, Ben, and you can share with the team here. I basically went on the back. Obviously, a camel has 2 humps. I jumped on the wrong.
Some camels have one. I thought this okay. There's a 2-humper.
Yeah, this was a 2-humper. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. And you hopped up on the. I thought you were supposed to ride in the middle of the hump. You ride on the hump.
I'm a little too Norwegian, so we do things backwards. And I jumped on the back of the hump, and the thing got up and started walking, and I was hanging on by my dear life.
And what are you like holding the hump at that?
Yeah, it was like my best new friend.
Oh
and the little sucker, the big camel took a walk.
I think you're the little sucker in that equation.
Yeah, I'm a big boy too, but yeah, it was definitely bigger than me. I can tell you the folks over at Primestone, other colleagues in the industry, people cry when I see the picture because it was quite.
I need this picture.
Yeah.
I need this picture.
Very scary. Very scary.
Send it. I need it.
I will.
If you send it now, we can get it up. All right. If you're watching this and you have this photograph, please email adam@glomo.com.
Perfect.
And we'll get that up here. Okay. If you know somebody that has this photograph, please tell them to email adam@glomo.com. We'll get this up here in real time. All right. So you're over in Dubai. You're shenaniganing with a camel.
Yeah.
What was the purpose of the trip though? Was it in conjunction with the Ukraine?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. So a lot of the.
So what's the strategy there?
Yeah. So the strategy was basically the folks that came out of Moscow, they had to get out. They bought one-way tickets to get the heck out because of all the political controversy over there, as well as some folks in Ukraine. The visa, Dubai is very visa friendly. So it's an easy place to move people for at least less than 90 days. Jump on a plane and go there, and you can leave a day and come back and renew it. In the short term, it's a great solution, not a permanent solution, but there's a lot of American companies there. So a lot of companies we work with had offices in Dubai. Obviously, they were previously in Moscow or Kiev. So it's easier for the corporates to move their associates to really plug and play, and
it wasn't like one of those bordering countries where you were getting a lot of probably Like there's probably some more capacity than say Poland or some of those other places that were immediately adjacent.
Oh my goodness, Poland. We were truly blessed to get the units that we did get in Warsaw. The Red Cross went in as soon as the war happened. They took over 5,000 vacant leases and signed them in Warsaw, in Poland. So
Okay.
that's one of the reasons why a lot of companies could not get inventory. I
What
was
happened?
I was truly blessed because of the relationships in New York with the Silversteins. Otherwise, that wouldn't have happened.
What happens to the pricing in a situation like that?
So some markets they gouge. This was the good thing. This terrible situation that happened. There was not gouging. I felt it was pretty competitive in the sense that people were so caring and really concerned about these human beings that really went through a really terrible time. It wasn't that gouging that I've seen in other markets through my career. And when it did happen in Dubai, when the folks that moved to Dubai, it was like an off season, so it wasn't as bad either pricing. So it was pricey, but not too. The companies that were moving their people on, it wasn't affecting them as much.
Yeah, yeah. Um, this is really interesting, and I want to ask you about Israel. Real quick though, Adam, can you confirm the video feed? We still got the video on this on the LinkedIn feed. All right, because I've got it on my phone here. I just want to make sure everybody's still got video here. Let me know out there if you're watching this right now. If you can see the video, get in the comments there. Hey, I want to ask you about Israel though, because here we are now, and things are blowing up over there. What are you seeing? How's that impacting corporate housing? I mean, is our industry impacted?
So Israel is a very so during ERC up in Boston, which was a great event, by the way.
Yeah, excellent.
Several of the corporates that I had helped out last year, with the different things that happened in Ukraine, they came to me at that conference as well and said, "Hey, I have hundreds of employees that are in Israel and Tel Aviv, and we might have to move them. Ken, I'm coming to you because we know you can potentially help us, and you have the relationships." So we did find solutions for them to both move them out or move them away from, the tougher, more of the where the missiles are coming as much.
Right.
But Israelis are really proud people.
Yeah.
They no one wanted to leave. No one left their home. I mean, the only time someone really left their home is if a missile was hit and the house was no longer there.
Wow.
And the people are really adamant about staying there, going through it, and going through that journey. So corporate housing really hasn't been impacted as much. People that do lose their homes, or the folks that were living along the border, both north, west and south, I guess, moving more into the center city. So hotels and stuff like that have been booked up. But a lot of people are not leaving. A lot of people are staying. And my hat goes off to them and give them credit for that.
Are there issues with Israelis going into other surrounding countries?
Yeah. So one thing, as soon as the war happened, my idea was, okay, in the Middle East, what's a great, easy place to send them to? Say Dubai or other locations.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Ukraine 2.0 kind of situation.
Yeah,
All right, we know how to do this. We got a blueprint.
Yeah. So in Dubai, they might have a ton of inventory. Let's move them there. The challenge is if you have an Israeli passport and you want to move them into the Middle East, they can get there, but unfortunately, they can't get back because of and you learn these things as for all different. Every culture is very different. Every country has different laws and visa issues. So I mean, my hat goes off to the different companies out there that service our industry in immigration and all the nuances of that they encounter. Definitely a tough job.
For real. Now we're talking about how every year has kind of been an anomaly. It seems like over the last 3-4 years, right? Going back to 2020, every year has been so stinking different. Last year, we all thought we were geniuses. We had more business than we knew what to do with. We were drinking out of a fire hose, printing money, it felt like. This year comes around, we get smacked upside the head with a dose of reality. We figure we all got to work for a living now this year and scratch and claw for every piece of business we can get, right?
Yep.
Humbling experience.
Yep.
What are you seeing for next year, Ken?
So so you are absolutely right. The way the trends did happen, last year was anomaly, or the last 3 years. This year, a lot of different industries have slowed down significantly. Thousands of layoffs in the tech sector. There's other industries that are still growing. From the feedback overall, from the variety of clients that I've spoken to, next year is definitely a lot more solid. It's an election year. They say interest rates might go down. The companies that were sitting on cash that didn't really spend too much this year are starting to use it and move people and do projects. And so I have a really good feeling about next year. And just from doing sales and meeting with clients, the mobility managers, HR managers, travel managers, previously that would make the approval on things, CFOs have been really controlling the pocketbooks. And
is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
No, it's a tougher sell for a salesperson because the CFOs are tightening up the pocketbooks for folks to use money. So I think they have been, and from my research and from my experience this year, they have been a huge influence on the market, just to slow things down a little. But I feel next year, definitely from my feedback and from clients and the industry as a whole, it won't be pre-COVID numbers, but definitely a lot stronger.
Yeah, it won't be. I mean, I think you're right. I think you're spot on. It won't be 2022 numbers. It won't be 2019 numbers.
No,
But I think it'll be like 2023 plus.
absolutely.
And I think that just though, honestly, you know what we crave right now? I don't care what level the business is at, but just give it to me steady. Give it to me predictable.
Yeah.
So I can staff appropriately, so I'm not understaffed and I'm not overstaffed. I think that's the thing that kills business is the unpredictability of the climate that we're in right now. It's like we're either overstaffed or understaffed. We're never just right. So if next year is this year with a little zhuzh to it, I'll take that because that means I'm staffed appropriately. I'm not going to lose I'm going to be reasonably profitable. It's not going to be a banner year, but I'm not going to take a bath. And I think we saw a lot of people who took 2022 and said, okay, we're going to continue this trend line. We're brilliant. We're so good at business. Let's double down, invest, hire more, etc. And now, oh crap, what did Warren Buffett say? He said when the tide goes out, you see who's swimming naked, right? And I think a lot of us had overextended ourselves, if we're being honest, right? And it was a tough time for us. So very, very interesting. Get in the comments. I want to know, what do you think? What do you think? Here we are. We're sitting in December, y'all. If you're watching this right now, and there's dozens of people watching this right now on all the platforms. If you're sitting in December of 2023 right now, what do you predict business is going to look like? Let's ask the audience here. What do you think business is going to look like in 2024? What can we prepare for? What should we be looking for? What are the indicators? What are the tea leaves that we need to be counting on right now? Lynn Greenberg checking in. Go Ken. Go Ken. Go Lynn. Go Ben. You see what I'm saying? Go Jen. Here we go. Here we go. So it got bars here. Jen says, so excited to be working with Kenny again. Welcome to Team Synergy. Look at this. Kenny from Synergy. Kind of has a ring too. Man, this Vietnamese coffee is kicking in. I tell you what, you ever had these things? These things are just jet fuel. Incredible. Love it. Highly recommend. 10 to 10. Phil Leonard, our industry has never been predictable. Thus, our experience and strategy that occurs yearly is valued. Ooh, what an interesting take. What do you think, Ken?
Never predictable. I agree. I mean, I think from after the financial crisis after 2008, and specifically for New York, it was pretty consistent and it was more predictable. I think COVID just threw a wrench in the whole what we would do. No, you would have your summer intern, busy season, vacancy time, and a winter time. It was a bit seasonal, Mm-hmm. I think COVID just threw all of those trends completely out of whack, and I don't think it will ever go back to the way it was. But I think we will get a normal, more of a predictable market. Maybe not in every market, but a place like New York, I think, will over the next few years.
And I think you mentioned New York, and it's interesting. And Phil's in the DC market. And I was recently out in the Bay Area at BAM. And I really do think that there's different outlooks by city in a way that we haven't seen in a few years, maybe, where you mentioned something before too. It kind of depends on industries, right? So New York, driven by finance, right? Maybe
Entertainment.
arts and entertainment, exactly.
Yep. Yep.
DC, driven by government
Yep.
spending, government contractors, etc. Bay Area, driven by tech,
Yep.
right? Midwest, driven by more manufacturing. So I think it's really Boston, scientific, pharma, Connecticut, insurance. So I mean, we still have to some degree some pockets of kind of some nucleuses here of different industries, and I think that you're going to see cities kind of ebb and flow based on how that market is. So this last year, what was affected the most? Well, tech laid off 250,000 people. So all the people that were printing money out in the Bay Area for the last umpteen years, well, the tide went out on them. And then accordingly, because the financial markets were so exposed to those frothy valuations and all that kind of easy money that was going on in the tech sector, boom, they took a bath, right? So I think there's things right here that are happening like that, but from a micro level in New York, I know you sitting in New York, you're like kind of Mr. New York, in my opinion, from the corporate housing standpoint. What are your thoughts about New York on a micro level?
So New York is always the first to bounce back. After 9/11 happened, I started Oakwood right after that, and so New York always bounces back. You have many different challenges. One of the things also in New York, we had the entertainment strike, or the writer strike, the actor strike. So entertainment, which is sort of recession proof in a way, all the movies, the productions, that was in a hole for like 6 months,
And sometimes actually it's good in a recession, right? We don't have any money. We sit at home, watch Netflix, right? So give me more content.
Of course. Or back in the day when we had Oakwood, we did the Bachelorette or the Bachelor show, or the Apprentice show we did for many years,
Yeah, sure.
So even though like the financial crisis was happening, TV shows and productions was still happening. But I think on a micro scale, it's even by neighborhood, like a place like New York. So you mentioned dissecting it city by city, but even within a city, there's certain, you can take Manhattan and slice it in 4 pieces: east, west, north, and south. And there's some areas before which were quiet, which are booming now. So it's really interesting. And you really need to know your markets. You need to understand your clients, where they're sending people or where they're sending. And right now at this time, education is key to success. I truly believe that. And really where I never shut up, I actually have to shut up a little bit and listen to our clients, because it's so important to truly understand what the needs and wants of their employees are.
Yeah, what a fascinating opinion on that. And I was just in New York. You're right, and Staten Island's going through different stuff than Manhattan's going through. It's different than Brooklyn's, different than the Bronx, different than Westchester. I mean, you're right. It gets down to the neighborhood level for sure. And super cool.
Even like the Manhattan Island, you have Hudson Yards area, which is Midtown West. Places booming, brand new high rises, tons of money, infrastructure. And then you have Midtown East, which was always very popular. It's a bit more quiet now, So it's interesting how things are evolving.
Where's the value in Manhattan right now? What neighborhood? What neighborhood is underpriced, if that's even possible?
Well, then there's another anomaly that we're not even chatting about, is the commercial sector of real estate. New York being one of the biggest in America, on a small island, with the vacancy and commercial, the transformation.
Talk about that for a second, because I think that's a major domino right now that's teetering.
Correct. Yeah. It's so New York City, a lot of people, people working remotely. New York will never go back to 100% occupancy in commercial real estate.
Was it back in the day 100%?
No, it was
pre 9/11 maybe.
No, you're hovering in the 90s plus, percent occupancy. But now, we're probably down. I'm not sure what the latest numbers, but I think it's in the 60s and 70s. Not every day. Probably Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are the highest days, and Mondays and Fridays are lighter. But real estate experts in the industry, like Silverstein, they're taking a commercial building downtown Manhattan in the Wall Street area and converting it to residential, which there's a big need of.
I was gonna say, so how do you do that? How do you convert something? How do you convert something that's offices? I'm sitting in an office right now. I was joking. I was like, oh, it's like kind of a 5-bedroom house. I was like, there's no bathrooms in here. Like, how do you convert that? It seems it's huge.
It's a toughie. I mean, so New York is known for a lot of the old buildings that are in New York, commercial buildings. There's a lot more offices, a lot more boxy. So it's a lot easier to run pipes and plumbing and elevators and exits and all that type. The older buildings are much easier to convert. Rather, if you take a JP Morgan building on Park Avenue and 50th Street, which is all glass steel, unfortunately, those buildings you really can't convert. So it's going to be interesting and very expensive. So the federal government and the city and state definitely have to kick in with companies if they want to convert more over. It's going to have to be a government-backed solution here.
This is very interesting. Get in the comments if you're watching this. We've got overrated, underrated coming up soon, so stay tuned. Get in the comments. I want to know what you think about converting commercial real estate to residential, what you think about the idea of these micro economies and micro markets. I'd love to know what your thoughts are about the future here. Phil Leonard weighing in here. I love Phil. Phil's always good for one. 2024 is going to be very conservative. Very conservative. Does that mean over 23 or under 23? I'm really curious what you think, Phil. Really, really, really interesting. I don't know. I love overrated, underrated. I'm feeling like a game. Ken, you feel like playing a game with me right now?
Baby, I'm ready. Bring it on, brother.
Okay.
Should I wear my holiday hat for this or no?
Oh, yeah, yes, 100%. You got it. Well, no, you brought it out. You got to keep it on. You got to keep it on.
I'll keep it on the side. I will keep it on the side. All right.
All right. Well, it might be. You might need it. That might be your thinking cap. You might need it. Phil Leonard says over 23. Yeah. Thank you. Thank the good Lord. All right. Super awesome. All right, Ken. I got to ask. Do you know how to play overrated, underrated?
No, but I'm going to learn today, baby.
Okay, super simple. You're a smart guy. There's only 2 rules, okay?
Yep, got it.
First, I give you a category.
Yep.
You tell me if it's overrated or underrated. Those are your 2 options. Don't get cute, all right?
Yep.
Second, I'll tell you if you're right.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, great. Now, lately, we've been allowing the audience to weigh in here. Do you think we should allow the audience to vote?
Why not? I mean, we want participation here. I mean,
careful what you wish for.
Holidays. We should, it's 5:00 someplace right now.
All right. Well, we're feeling inclusive on the show today. So, audience, y'all ready? You want to play with us? Get in the comments. We got a bunch of people watching here. Get in the comments. I want to know what you think. Don't hold back. If Ken's crazy, you got to tell him. He won't know. It's tough love, okay?
Tough love,
you got to let him know, okay? The rule is when we do audience participation, we will count their votes. Their vote goes. However, as the host, I still retain the right to have 2 votes. All right. Number 1, Adam. Toasted bagels, overrated or underrated? This is a fiery topic. This is almost like talking religion at a dinner party. Okay,
Agreed.
Toasted bagels in New York. We're talking to a New York here. Overrated or underrated? Get in the comments. I want to know what you think. Do you take your bagel toasted or untoasted? Overrated or underrated? Toasted bagels, overrated, underrated, Ken?
Definitely overrated.
Overrated.
And the reason being is because in New York we have the great water here. So we actually have the best bagels in America in New York City. And if you get fresh bagels that are warm, that were just cooked, you just put the butter on it. You don't have to toast them.
Ah, so you're a butter, not a cream cheese guy.
And that is correct. Yeah. I'm trying to cut back a little bit here.
Is butter better than cream cheese? I don't even know.
Not really. No.
Can somebody weigh in on that? Stats and information. Can we get a reading on that? what is your okay? I'm gonna give you one chance while people are coming in here. We're getting a lot of votes here. This is a good one. What is your bagel of choice? What's your order?
Whole wheat with fat-free butter. They have it, and that's it.
Ken, don't lie to me.
I am. I'm telling
Don't
you.
lie to me. Whole wheat.
Maybe
with
throw a
fat-free
little Lux
butter.
on it too because of the McDonald's experience with the salmon. So I might throw a little.
It's going McLocks. All
Yeah,
right. On a whole wheat with 5. You order that. You look somebody in the eye. You walk into a deli and you look somebody in the eye and you order a whole wheat bagel with non-fat butter.
Yep.
Untoasted.
Untoasted.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Ken.
But you got to go to the right bagel store. You can't go to anyone. You know.
Best bagel. What's your go-to bagel? Doesn't have to be best bagel. What's your go-to bagel? Where?
Mine?
Where is it?
Oh, well, the best place used to be on 78th Street and First Avenue, Upper East Side in Manhattan. But since I'm not too far where you stayed in New York.
Yeah.
Great place, by the way. I used to live right in the building above it, so I used to go right down every morning. Great place. And it's right across the street from where the Seinfeld deli was.
Monks or whatever? Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Great. All right, let's tabulate the results here. Okay, let's see here. We've got George says under. Go ahead and throw that up there, Adam, if you would. George says under. Scott says under. Phil says under. Both, Judy? Both? Judy. We shouldn't be meeting like this, Judy, but both? All right, okay. Caroline, over. There we go. Under. Wow, everybody's going under. This Dunkin' Donuts bagels are not bagels. Shane, you've redeemed yourself for what sin? I don't know, but you are correct. Underrated. Love the toasted bagel. Man, you people. Cinnamon raisin. All right. What else we got here? Everything. Okay, Caroline, that's acceptable. Cinnamon raisin is acceptable. Toasted. Adrian Grimes lived in New York and says toasted.
Wow.
He's saying, wow. You know, I get 2 votes. I should get more. I'm gonna have to rewrite the rules. You know, it's 6-3 in favor of the underrated. It's toasted. People are going toasted. I feel like I don't know you people anymore. Ken, you are technically correct, but you chose to allow people to vote.
I did.
And in a democracy, you know, you get what you get.
You get what you get. I agree, my brother.
So, Ken, you are unfortunately 0 for 1 right now. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Okay. All right.
Every time I buy a lotto ticket, I always lose. So
all right. Next, let's go to the next one. Maybe I'll have better luck next time. Instant booking in corporate housing, overrated or underrated?
That's a toughie.
That's why these are good questions.
Yeah, they are. So I believe it's overrated, and I'll tell you why. Because I would even say, you know, the challenge is that so many corporate housing companies globally have given back a lot of inventory, where, you know, there's a lot of great technology platforms out there to actually book in real time, but unfortunately they don't have the real inventory anymore, and they have to, you know, build the unit and do matching leases and stuff like that. So unfortunately, I think it's overrated right now.
You know, it is a tough one, right? Because the market wants it so bad. Consumers want it, right? It's just intuitive. We want it. We see it. We want it. We see it in other, you know, we see it in hotels. We see it on Expedia. We just want it. Why can't we have it? We want it. But you're right. In the United States, especially, these units are built to suit. Like, you know, I'm not going to stand around with a Upper East Side apartment vacant, waiting for somebody to click a button somewhere. I can't do it. You'll die. You'll go out of business that way.
Yeah. So, you know, that's why the model, when you do have, you know, the neat thing about companies like Synergy, there's not that many big companies out there that hold core inventory anymore. And Synergy does, you know, and hence it's a game changer, and it's an advantage definitely in the market for sure.
Yeah, it is. Well, and that's really the only way you can do it is when you hold inventory, and usually when you have a critical mass, you know, in a building that you operate. I think I stayed in a Citadines apartment in London. It was on a part hotel, right? And so there, in that case, you could have that, but in the US, it's just super hard to do. Let's count them up here. Adam, help me count here. What do we got? Overrated, underrated. We got 1 over. 2 over, 3 over, 4 over, 5 over. I thought this was a harder question than this. Agree? Is that an over? 6, 7. Shane. Too many platforms to integrate among suppliers and costs. Yeah, it's definitely a hard one here. Wow, that's a landslide there. I thought these questions were harder than they are. Okay, Ken, you know what? You redeemed yourself. You're 1 for 1 now.
All right.
This is good stuff.
All right.
You're back on the horse. You're back on the camel.
Love
All
it.
right, let's go. Next,
I
White
said
Plains,
to the
New
camel
York.
too.
WP, baby. White Plains, New York, class of 2001. Overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Yeah, you don't got to give me the Homer answer here. You can give me the real. All right, why? Oh, and White Plains, New York, county seat of Westchester County, by the way. If you don't know, now you know. Hudson, New Haven line? Hudson line. Harlem line.
Harlem line, yeah. Harlem line.
Sheesh, terrible. What why is it underrated?
So for years it's been underrated. But the impact and so what's I learned something new recently. The CEO of Pivot. It's a great
Lynn Greenberg. Yeah, shout out to Lynn.
So she's educated me a lot on the different markets across the country, more of the smaller towns, sort of like the White Plains or Rochester, New York, or other locations where they're pumping in so much money and development and sustainability programs and schooling. And White Plains, where back in the day, it was very underrated. Now it's like a secret place now. If you go into White Plains today versus say 5-10 years ago, it's like a new city, and it's transforming literally every month.
I grew up in White Plains, New York, from the year 1987 to the year 2000, and I guess I was in college, but 2001, we'll say. I haven't been back in 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And I hear things, but I don't know. So very interesting. Really cool. Let's see. We've got I'm gonna count some of these things while Adam's working on something over here. So let's count. You people are brutal. You know what? You people are brutal. This is my hometown, people. Okay. I'm vulnerable. I'm opening up to you. I'm putting myself forth for judgment, and you're just taking a crap all over me, people. We got one overrated.
I'll give you a head. A hug.
I need one. We got 2 overrateds. Debbie, you're killing me. Scott Williamson, 3 overrateds. George Meyer, 4 overrateds. Ruby, 5 overrateds. Adrian, 2. Adrian, 6 overrateds. Thank you, Phil. Finally, the sensible Phil Leonard checking in here. 6-1. Caroline's like, what are we talking about? Harlem line crew, Jill. What up, Jill? I'm going to say Jill, I'm going to count you on my side. I get 2 votes. That's 6-4. I'm sorry. You lost this one too, Ken. I don't know. I mean, I wanted to help you.
I know. I'll never bet. I'll always lose.
I wanted to help you,
I know, baby. I know.
Oh, all right. Let's see if we can't turn this thing around. Okay. Next. The Staten Island Ferry. Underrated or overrated? Ken's like, what are you doing to me right now?
Oh my God, you're killing me.
Hold on, Ken. Before you answer. When was the last time you rode the Staten Island Ferry, if ever?
Oh my God. So the funny thing is, as being in New York for many years now, every Norwegian relative that I've had from Norway, they always want to come visit me. And what I tell them all to do is, I've been on the Staten Island Ferry probably like 30 times, and I never lived in Staten Island, because it gives it goes by the Statue of Liberty, and you can get the best pictures of New York.
Yes.
And so in one way, so to answer your question, I've been on it quite a number of times.
I thought you were going to tell me when your Norwegian family comes in, you're like, hey, you got to ride the boat. It's like the fjords. It's like the fjords. Just do it.
You got high rises, fjords, very similar. No, but I literally recommend it probably to about 200-300 Norwegians. Go on the Staten Island Ferry. It's very good, very good.
I always thought there was a lot of Norwegians on the ferry.
Yes.
This is so okay. You've been on it 30 times. You never lived in Staten Island. You laugh when I ask you. What's your answer? Overrated or underrated?
I think it's overrated.
You tell every Norwegian they got to ride the ferry.
Absolutely.
And then you just sell them out.
Because otherwise I'm going to have to do a private helicopter ride. It's a lot cheaper and easier.
And it's a heck of a lot better than going over to Liberty Island and standing online for the statue. And the irony is when you get to Liberty Island, you look at the Statue of Liberty, like, it's not that big.
No. And plus, guys like you and I that are in such great shape to climb all those stairs up to the it's a tough little exercise run there.
No, I'm not dying on the statue.
Me
all right, here we go. Let's count the votes here. Overrated, underrated, Staten Island Ferry. George says underrated. Nice, George. I like you. All right, cool. We got let's see, we got Adrian. There you go. Finally, Adrian. He can be persnickety. We got him. As a tourist in New York, it's underrated. As a tourist. What's implied there? Don't move to Staten Island. It's not a daily ride. Okay. It's a once in a while thing. Can they incorporate Kinito into your new Synergy email address? It's Kinito at Synergy is
oh boy.
Kinito.
Okay.
What time is Kinito? Like a 1 a.m. Anyway. All right. Next, let's see. Scott Williamson, Norwegian Ferry Line is underrated. The Norwegian Ferry Line. You know what? I think we're back on track, and we got to win. We got a dub. Now, the drama. Do you feel the weight of the drama right now? You are tied 2-2.
Oh boy.
Okay, going in
on the button here. I gotta
going into the bottom of the ninth here. 2-2. Okay. Yep. Everything's on the line. The weight of the world. Okay. Right. Under the lens of 1,000 eyeballs, or maybe 24. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Last one. Overrated, underrated. The Yankees, the New York Yankees.
Overrated.
Whoo, fire. Okay. Let's see. Get in the comments right now. Has Ken lost his marbles or just his scruples? Get in the comments. I want to know the New York Yankees, overrated or underrated. This one's it. This one's it, y'all. This is it. All right. So Ken, you said overrated. Defend your answer. Win the crowd.
They're overrated. I mean, they pay top dollar for the top people, and they're not producing, man. They're just not producing.
But those pinstripes.
The pinstripes are good. They make them all look thin and tall, for sure.
We're going to show up to ERC in our Yankee uniforms next year. What do you say?
I would be honest. My son is the biggest Yankee fan too, by the way. So that's the funny thing.
Nice. I hope he's watching. He's going to throw eggs at your car.
Yeah, he will.
I will say, I think the Yankee uniform might be the most iconic uniform in sports.
Sure.
He's like, sure, I'll give you whatever. Fine.
I
changed my answer. The Yankee hat. I mean, gosh, I've been a Yankee fan off and on from time to time in the 90s. I'll admit it. Okay. I can be bought. All right. Like Jason Giambi, I can be bought. My point though is it's a nice cap. But let's see. I think I gave you a little bit of a softball to end here. Let's see. Let's see how we're doing. You feel confident right now? All right. Let's see. We've got overrated. That's 2. That's 3, Phil. Annie, I love Annie. She always goes out on a limb. I love it. Scott says way over. Hey, it still counts the same. Yankees are so overrated. Go Rangers. Another overrated. Present day overrated. Whoa, what was that? Present day overrated? Jeter days underrated. Derek Jeter.
Wow.
Nice. You know what? I'm going to put that on the other side of the column because Jeter is the days. Overrated. All right. Over Jilly Dogs since 2004. What does that mean? Since 2004. So did the Rangers. Yeah, pay a lot of people. Hate the pinstripes. Bro, now you're just being ridiculous. Underrated at the stadium. Oh, I'm going to put that on that side. Yankees and Sox. Oh, man. Just shots are fired. You know what? It looks like it's about 8-3. You're right. They are overrated. Ken, wow, you pulled it out, man.
All right, brother. All right.
I was very nervous about how this was going.
Oh, man, I was so stressed out.
But you pulled it out. Oh, my gosh. And you know what? I might have a whole wheat, low-fat butter bagel.
Oh,
just to celebrate.
And no toasting. No toasting.
Yeah. Adam, do we have anything else we want to share? Let's see here. Final score, Ken, 4 humps, Ben, 38 humps. Today's hump day. Oh, wow. I like how you tied that in. Adam, super producer Adam. And you know what? To celebrate, we've got the picture of Ken Flornes riding the camel on the back, a little too far to the back. That's classic.
Living the dream in Dubai.
Wow. That's amazing. What do we think about that picture? Let's take a screen grab. That's awesome, Ken. Thanks for sharing that picture. This is amazing. Let's take that down before we can't forget it. Ken, you want to leave us with a final thought before we say adios to our friends?
Yeah, I just want to wish everyone a happy holiday. And truly enjoy the times with your family and friends. Exciting new year for 2024. I could tell you, joining the Synergy team, I feel like I won the lotto, truly. And I'm super excited. And let's see how we can really divide and conquer and deliver great service to our clients and put business aside and let's just be happy and have a really nice, peaceful holiday.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Ken Flornes, now of Synergy Corporate Housing, Mr. Hot News, Kenny Babes himself. Thank you so much for being here with us, Ken Flornes. And thank all of you for watching today. We wouldn't have a show without you. Thank you so much for